The long and storied history of the Chola dynasty commences around the year circa 300 BCE. This line of kings originated in the fertile plains of southern India, specifically in the region drained by the Kaveri River. They are recognized as one of the most ancient and longest ruling dynasties in the recorded history of the world. When we speak of the Chola dynasty in this early context, we are referring to the ancient Cholas of the Sangam period. This is a separate and distinct era from the later medieval period, when their descendants would forge the powerful Chola Empire, a vast maritime power that dominated Southeast Asia. This video focuses on the formative centuries of the ancient Chola dynasty, beginning around 300 BCE. The period around 100 BCE falls squarely within the Sangam Age, a golden era of Tamil literature that provides the most detailed accounts of the early Chola rulers. The historical record from this time is not a precise list of dates, but is rich with names and deeds celebrated in epic poems. Kings, such as Ilamchecheni and his son Karikala Chola, emerge from these texts as formidable figures. Karikala, in particular, is lauded as the greatest of the early Chola kings. Sangam poems like the Patanapalai describe his military victories, his construction of flood banks for the Kaveri River, his patronage of trade, and his patronage of the arts. His story illustrates the key duties of an early Tamil king, protecting his people, ensuring agricultural prosperity, and expanding his influence through strategic warfare and alliances. The society of the ancient Cholas was fundamentally agrarian, with life tied to planting and harvesting rice. The majority lived in rural villages, houses built of mud timber thatched roofs. The family was the core unit. Respect for elders ran deep. Men worked in the fields, tended livestock, and practiced hereditary crafts. Women managed the household, raised children, and helped transplant rice seedlings. Village and temple life formed the kingdom's foundation. Sangam literature shows an organized social structure, divided by occupation and regional ecology, Tinai, rather than later rigid caste. Coastal people were fishermen and traders. Craftsmen included potters, weavers, and blacksmiths. Section 4. Trade and Economy. The Rivers of Commerce. Around 200 CE. By around 200 CE, the Chola economy had evolved beyond subsistence agriculture to include a robust and far-reaching trade network. Southeastern coast of India. Strategic location, natural harbors, navigable rivers, ideal for Indian Ocean trade. The Chola port of Puhar became a key emporium, connecting the Tamil country with distant lands. Chola merchants exported fine cotton textiles. They exported spices, pepper, precious stones and beads, pearls, exotic woods. This export-driven economy brought wealth, fueling urban growth and arts patronage. Archaeological evidence includes Roman coins in the Kaveri Delta. Classical sources like Pliny and the Periplus describe this trade. Ships from Rome and Alexandria sailed to Chola ports. Imports included wine, fine pottery, and metals. Section 5. Culture and Faith. The Seeds of Temple Civilization, around 300 CE. The primary religious beliefs were indigenous forms of Hinduism, with the worship of deities like Murugan, Shiva, and Vishnu being prominent. The Sangam literature is replete with hymns to these gods, their temples, and rituals. Early temples were modest, built of brick and timber, and anchored community life. Festivals, pilgrimages, and offerings connected people to the divine and reinforced social bonds. The Chola kings were also chief patrons of religion, sponsoring temples and presiding over ceremonies. This patronage buttressed their legitimacy by aligning kingship with divine sanction. While early brick and timber have perished, the beginnings of stone sculpture emerged in this era. Motifs were explored in simpler materials, before later mastery in bronze and granite. Religious pluralism, including Jainism and Buddhism, enriched the cultural milieu. Section 6. The Interregnum. Following the vibrant Sangam age, the historical trail of the Cholas grows faint. This period is often called a dark age because inscriptions are scarce. Other powers, most notably the Calabras, dominated the political landscape. The Cholas did not disappear, but their power diminished, likely continuing as minor chieftains. Yet this was a time of social and religious transformation. The Bhakti movement gained momentum through Nayanars and Alvars, composing powerful Tamil hymns. The rise of the Pallavas in the north and the Pandyas in the south led to long struggles, with Chola heartlands contested. Pallavas pioneered rock-cut and structural stone temples, styles later refined by the medieval Cholas. This so-called Dark Age was a formative period. Political, religious and artistic foundations were laid, leading to the spectacular revival of Chola power in the 9th century CE, the beginning of the Chola Empire. Section 7. Legacy of the ancient Cholas, foundations for an empire. From around 300 BCE, their most significant contribution was endurance across centuries. Stories of early kings like Karikala, preserved in Sangam literature, set ideals of kingship, prowess, justice, and public welfare. Economically, they harnessed the Kaveri Delta and nurtured long-distance trade with the Roman West and the Far East. Port cities like Puhar became legendary centers of commerce and connectivity. Their patronage of temples planted the seeds of a temple-centric civilization. They weathered political storms and preserved their lineage, passing down governance, art, and commerce. The rise of the medieval Chola Empire in the 9th century was a spectacular revival built upon these enduring foundations.